Hey guys, it's Vince. Today in this video, we are continuing with yet another content creator series where we go over their affiliate marketing links and their affiliate builds, where once again they are marketing to the novice community wanting to get involved with CNC production robotics and unfortunately don't follow best practice when utilizing the components that they're marketing. Defining once again, we need to make sure that the information being provided is not only detailed, but is not misinformation, because once again, I'm trying to protect your time, but most importantly, your money. So let's jump right in. We've got an interesting video today called How to Build a Big CNC Plasma Cutter for Under $750. That should be your first red flag. And to many of you that aren't novice, it is. But unfortunately, these guys know how to throw that hook out, and we know when novice end users see that price point, they're interested in looking at whatever they're selling. So let's jump right in. We won't waste time, and we'll cover all of the details you need.
So this is my plasma cutter. It's a Soldering, which is not really a common brand. It doesn't matter. It's powered by 380 volts on 3 phases, which means it can do over 100 amps and cut 25 millimeters or 1 inch.
Alright, so the content creator just explained that his plasma cutter utilizes up to 100 amps. Many of you out there may be saying, Vin, my plasma cutter uses less amps. It's state-of-the-art technology. It doesn't produce as much electromagnetic interference. Whatever you decide to do with your robot is up to you. The bottom line is, and the science behind what I'm saying, you don't have to like what I'm saying. You don't have to like me, but you can't argue with facts, because facts don't care about your feelings. I'm putting on screen Lincoln Electric's mitigation for EMI direct from their engineers. Lincoln Electric produces some of the highest quality plasma systems on the market. If you want to build your robot following best practice, why not utilize a manual that is once again written by one of the highest quality producing factories in the nation? Once again, if you build your system according to what this manual states, you are virtually guaranteed a stable production robot. And everything I'm discussing here, I'm relaying to you from that manual. And why do I do that? And I will provide it once again for free to anyone that wants it. Just email me. A link is in the description of the video, and you can email me and I will once again send it to you for nothing. The only thing I want you guys to do is think. I have nothing to gain from making things up. You can check it out right here. You can also check out over 600 videos I've made, along with building a system for the IT director of NASA, which is on my channel, along with Hesperos Biotechnology. These guys are doing one-off systems. These guys are hoping you go over and click on their affiliates, which once again they have no direct interest in your success. Lincoln Electric doesn't either, but once again, Lincoln Electric is putting on their website this manual so their end users understand the gravity of what they're working with, as am I. Alright, so we've seen this in many previous videos. The content creator gets to the point where he's assembling his chassis. He wants to go through this process quickly. There's no real details to cover with his audience, so he thinks. And right here, we see him just stuffing that cable chain with all of the cables that he feels he requires to complete his system. The issue? He never covered selecting the proper size cable chain, and that is critical. Why is it critical? It's critical because if you do not select a cable chain based on the outer diameter of the cables you're using and use the proper ultra flex rated cables, knowing the MBR, if you exceed the MBR, you are SOL because you're going to have a premature cable failure. You will actually fatigue the cable enough because it's live going back and forth on your y-axis, which once again is the largest axis in the length direction. You will find that that cable will fail internally if we fracture a conductor, and if that happens, you guys have to replace your cables. Again, he never even discussed using the proper cables, which would be double shielded cables, to mitigate both high and low forms of EMI. And when I say high and low forms, I'm talking about high and low frequency. So the thing to keep in mind here, guys, is while we can sit there and play games cutting corners and we want to speed the video up, you cannot speed up the details required to produce stability. Now, It's up to you, once again the end user, to dictate how much time do you want to put in to building this production robot. But when you consider the fact of how much these robots will make you if built correctly, and how much money and time that I'm saving you just doing this video, I think it behooves you, if you're watching this video this far, to think and research what I'm saying. And so much so, I'm putting an article here from Instructables from Ryan McKenzie, who went through the process of researching and providing all of you the information you need on selecting the proper cable chain based on the UltraFlex cables, which you all should be using inside the cable chain to make sure the longevity of the cable is what it should be, on top of the fact that the robot once again performs in the most stable fashion. Well, now we see the content creator going through building the electronics, and he gets to the breakout board. And what did he select? Universal Serial Bus, also known as USB. What is the problem when we select USB? USB, and I've said this in at least, I don't know, I'm guessing about 50 to 60 videos, is completely unstable for CNC use due to the fact that it runs on 5 volts. That being said, USB, due to the fact that it's running on such low voltage, has a lot of issues with electromagnetic interference. It is probably one of the most unstable platforms you can possibly use for CNC operation, let alone the highest amount of EMI producing CNC robot, which is a plasma system, once again covered earlier in the video due to all the amps and power we're consuming. These boards are completely unacceptable for this application. Need more proof? No problem. Here is a direct conversation of dialogue that me, as well as the lead engineer over at CNC Drive, who manufactures UC CNC, and they also manufacture the leading USB controller at one point, which was the UC 100. Now, many of you may be familiar with the UC 100. Well, lots and lots of people were having issues with it disconnecting mid-job. And when you read this email, you can see exactly what Balzis explained, who's the lead engineer over there. And he went into detail explaining the problems with PC grounding, problems with electromagnetic interference. Then he said there was problems with Windows as far as it going into standby mode. If you want the most stable, up-to-date platform for control for your CNC, there is no better way to go than Ethernet. I suggest you check out my UC400 turnkey solution, as it will bring your system up to the highest level of stability possible. Plasma systems must use Ethernet. And I'm saying that if they want to be the most modern. If you don't care about being the most modern, you can always use parallel port, but with older technology comes other problems. If you're serious, Ethernet is the way to go.
Alright, so I'm done hooking up all the electrics. Took about 2 hours.
Alright, so we just heard the content creator explain that it only took him 2 hours to complete the electronics. I can tell you I've been doing this well over a decade, and it would take me on an individual drive system, also known as an IDS system, at least 15 to 20 hours, not mentioning any unforeseen issues that arise. Now, we all know they always arise, so let's give or take on the higher end about 30 hours. That's for me. If you've never done it, you can estimate double to triple that. And if you're working a side gig, typically a regular job and then you're doing this on the side until you get your business established, you're looking at potentially even higher than that, especially when we factor in family time and having a life. So let's look for bullshit. And when we see bullshit, we shouldn't be afraid to call it out and start thinking, hey, you know what? We should start looking into it. And that should be a red flag, just like the beginning of the video where we look at the title and it says, oh, we can do this for a ridiculous amount of money. Whenever you guys see things that are too good to be true, don't be afraid to now start utilizing technology. You can use DeepSeek. You can use ChatGPT. AI is everywhere. You're actually getting into a physical portion of AI when we deal with these robotics. So you should be acclimating to getting more in tune with utilizing research that needs to be done to save yourself a lot of bank and time. Because once again, when we hear these kind of things, these are giant red flags. And no matter how many times I say it, unfortunately, there are guys out there that will still fall for these content creators and decide, hey, you know what? I can part with 60, $100 on plans, only to find out what I'm saying after. So please be careful. We see here, like many content creators, he's attempting to solder. He's defining by his attempting to solder that he knows nothing about soldering properly. Guys, you want to be very careful when you're soldering in that you follow best practice, or your connections may not hold up or may not be of the integrity they should be, to once again make sure that your system is, number one, safe, and number two, going to provide that level of stability I keep discussing. If you want to know how to solder, I'll put on screen here a demonstration of me working with a 3-phase spindle cable. So again, he's doing DC right there. I'm doing 3-phase spindle cables. You'll see the difference, and you'll see the technique in which I use. I'm using solder, Kester number 44, and Kester number 186 RMA flux. These are the best components on the market. These are all I use. They are available in my store. I suggest if you're serious about learning to solder, check out my videos, search my channel. You will find a slew of them, and you be the judge. You'll see it and you decide what you want to do. Once again, looking at this is a simple way for you guys to define someone just winging it, in the sense that, hey, I can hack this, I'll get by with it, and then I can show my audience, look at this, I spent the least amount of money. But spending the least and using the least amount of time doesn't mean it's necessarily done right. So I'll never understand what the concept is of just trying to wing things, when if we do it right, we build something that not only we're proud of, but it's safe and it's going to provide a stable source of income pending we know how to use it. This is just my thoughts. You guys be your judge.
So looking inside the electrical box, again, won't go into much detail. This is basically the breakout board, which receives a signal via USB from the PC. And then it will send a signal to the stepper drivers, of which we have 4 for every motor a stepper driver, how fast every motor should move and what direction it should move in. And that's basically it. Also, it will receive input signals from the end switches, and then from the stepper drivers we simply wire them to the stepper motors, and this is the 24 volts power supply which powers it all. And that's it.
Well, the content creator made it known that now he feels his controller is built. And what the real factual terms of how this controller is built is, meaning that he's connected each wire to the appropriate location in order to get the system to power on. There is a huge difference from getting the unit to power on and providing a stable robot. And what do I mean by that? Very simple. With robotics, your system is not considered stable until you actually run programs with it. Simply turning it on does not commission anything. You have to have a definition of stability through actually taking that robot through its paces and letting it do what it was designed to do. That means running it in excess of 10, 12, 15, 24 hours. Keep increasing that time, and the longer you increase that time, the more you've defined stability. We hear him say that this controller is finished. We never heard him explain about proper grounding. We never see anything in the controller dealing with proper cooling. There's no fan in there for anything that's going on. It's a very, very small metal enclosure, which That is the best choice he's made so far. There is nothing filtered going to his breakout board, meaning for EMI mitigation. We have no discussion of proper double shielded cables for our motor cables. If you guys think about what I've just explained in just this brief overview of what he's done, you are destined to have problems. And of course, in YouTube land, it's very easy for these guys to skim over this and simply get done with the video. They'll show you their signs that are cut out or whatever widgets they're cutting out and telling you, hey, you can do this too. You can. The issue is this: if you encounter any of the problems I'm discussing because the controller is not built to the level of detail that's required for robotics, who do you go to? That's what I'd like to hear in the comments. Who do you go to? Do you message this guy? You think he's going to help you? He's not going to help you. He's pointing off everything from overseas, which he doesn't know if you're going to get support or not. As a matter of fact, in the video, he discusses that basically these drives and everything that's getting involved with the wiring, there's not much information online. So what he's done is he's put together the information based on how he's gotten his system to turn on. That's where everything ends. Once the system turns on, these guys think that everything is finished. It's not. Did you ever hear him discuss anything about the table being grounded? Nothing. Does he even know the proper ohms rating that is to be considered for robotics to be grounded? We haven't heard anything. So again, are these level of detail that I'm discussing, is this just bullshit? Or is this something that you can read in the Lincoln Electric PDF on EMI mitigation and proper grounding for yourself from, once again, one of the most premier companies that's actually engineering and designing plasma systems? And this guy openly has the internet, never does any research. And then they want to sell you components.
Oh yeah, it's finished.
All right, so in this snapshot, we see that the content creator is applying a coating to his steel chassis. I've been asked about this so many times, and I've discussed it so many times. I want you to think logically of what happens when you apply a coating to a conductive chassis. That coating will affect the way the chassis can be grounded in terms of the path to grounding. So it increases resistance, possibly to the point that you are no longer able to be grounded, and then at that point you'd have to remove all the paint in central locations, applying the proper ground strap along with the proper ground bus bar to instigate start point grounding. Now again, nothing I've just disclosed is discussed. Now, to clarify that I'm not making this up, that this information is readily available if, once again, somebody actually takes the time to do it, you can see I've got DeepSeek on the screen. It's free to use. It's AI, and it will show you exactly what I'm saying. And you can see the level of detail that AI goes through and provides you with to make sure that, once again, you understand what you're messing with. And when you see stuff like this and you read it for yourself, where it's actually telling you how important grounding is, and yet not being discussed at all by this content creator, guys, this is a tremendous red flag. This is somebody willing to, once again, put a video up, no matter how I can do it, look up the affiliate links, and then just say, you know what, whatever happens, happens. I showed you my table assembled, that's it. And that's exactly what happens. There is no level of depth of coverage of proper assembly. And basically what you're saying is to your audience, I'm not willing to put that time in. I'm not willing to provide you all of the research required for your success. And that is where I find that to be very misleading, especially when you're selling anything and you're looking at an affiliate link, which means this guy is nothing more than a salesman. He doesn't necessarily know what he's talking about in terms of what he's selling. He should be selling towels or something where, again, it's least intrusive to the knowledge that must be possessed to make sure that the people that are watching his videos get the results and the outcome that they're hoping for. And that's the thing you're looking at with robotics. It's not simply just plug and go. I mean, and if you believe that, all you got to do is look at the forums. Go look on the forums. I've said this in many videos, and you'll see all of the posts. Hey, I don't know what this problem is. Hey, I only have this problem. I get that a lot. I only have this problem. It works great, but I only have this problem. Well, if it worked great, you wouldn't have that problem, right? If the robot is unstable, you have a paperweight. If you cannot trust what you're loading on your robot to cut, you're waiting for more spent money and time to go down the toilet. And that's why I'm telling you, this is critical. So be very careful. And once again, use your resources. DeepSeek, free. ChatGPT, free. You can check them first. If you want to go into more depth, once again, I highly recommend getting with somebody that's validated. You can do all the research you'd like online. Check out what I'm saying, and you will see, and I've said this before, paying for a consultation will easily save you money. Guys will sit back and go, I hate having to pay. You don't have to pay. If you want to do the research yourself and you're confident in your research, then do it. But if not, use your brain and think, is this worth it? I mean, you're going to throw out $60 if this doesn't work. Everything I've said here is accurate. You can do online research. Like I said, I'll give you the link in electric PDF manual. Make that assessment yourself. Okay, guys, I want to end this video covering a piece of evidence that happened from another content creator who made a video that's called How to Build a $200 Plasma CNC. I actually decided to make my version of his video covering in detail, once again, what mistakes were made. Well, every now and then these content creators find my video and they'll comment. And I want to read the comment that was left because I think many of you will find this interesting. Here is the comment that this person, Joshua, I'm not going to say the last name because I'll butcher it, but needless to say, he writes here, all you have shown is speculation. Everything works perfectly and my audience have built their own successfully. The grounding works fine. You kept on about not liking the fact I was giving cheap links to the tools I used as if I'm wrong for doing so. My audience want the links and I'm simply showing them how I achieved the results seen in the video. Now this is interesting. You missed the fact that I'm open to suggestions as I'm not an expert and only dabble with this technology. But your video seems more about attacking character than constructive advice. It's a shame. Maybe try and think about being collaborative than just criticism, and maybe your channel will do better. Cheers. That's interesting. Really interesting. So what I'm saying is speculation. Let me ask you, sir, a true engineering question. If you haven't eliminated all potential variables that dictate stability on a production robot, then how can you ever claim it's stable? Because at any point in time, it can yield its ugly head that it isn't. And being you're an affiliate marketer, and that's all you are, and openly admitting to just dabbling in the technology defines that what you're doing is finding a topic interesting and simply listing components to that topic you find interesting, regardless of what knowledge you have pertaining to it. That is misleading. Because if you don't have the knowledge to get repetitive results over and over again, which you obviously don't, nor can you prove, because the only people that would know this is the ones that are buying this crap and hoping that they get the same results because of what you've shown. Unfortunately, openly admitting that you don't know what you're doing as you dabble, then I don't understand how you can dictate consistent results, because you can't. And this is exactly the frustration I go through, as this is my true career. I'm not an affiliate marketer. I sell the products I make and I actually design and go through and support. There is a huge difference from somebody sitting here and finding something that they find interesting and hoping that you guys get results that they did, which of course we'll never know the truth on that. Most of these guys, like this individual, you can see by the size of his channel here, they'll put up a short video showing 5 minutes, 2 minutes of cutting. They fast forward everything. They won't show you months of cutting. They can't, because they know if they do, odds are you're going to find something that doesn't make sense. And that's why I say you guys will be your own judge. But reading this, you notice he never said what I said was wrong. He never said that, oh, well, I corrected what you were saying. I was being constructive. You're not being honest. You should have said, no, sir. I went back and I watched what you said, did the research, which is already in the video where I cover it, and I corrected these things. And I went back and displayed that to my audience. You won't do that because that would define that you don't know what you're doing. It's like I said, the truth is not always going to make you feel good. But the bottom line is nothing I said is speculation. It's all fact. If it was speculation, you would have said I was lying. And that's true. So again, guys, think about what I said. Think about this video. And if you're serious about working with plasma systems, find someone that's validated. I thank you all for your support. Take care.